Don't skip a single breath of this. Because this is the one story you were never supposed to hear out loud. And it didn't start with a conversation. It didn't start with a glance across a crowded room. It started with a question you never asked yourself. And it ended with someone standing completely still. Someone who had seen every version of you. The strong one. The tired one. The one who laughs too loud. The one who cries when no one is watching. They saw it all. And they couldn't walk away. But that's not what makes this strange. What makes this strange is what they found. Something buried so deep inside you, even you forgot it was there. Something that doesn't make sense in the light of day. Something that changes everything. And no, it's not your past. It's not your mistakes. It's not the way you love or the way you hurt. It's smaller than that. And bigger. It's the one thing you never show anyone. Not because you're hiding it. But because you don't even know it's there. But they found it. And the moment they did, their entire world tilted. Because this truth didn't scare them. It didn't push them away. It did something else. Something impossible. It made them stay. Not out of duty. Not out of guilt. But because they couldn't bear the thought of a life where they hadn't seen it. That's the part you don't understand yet. The part that will keep you up tonight. The part you'll replay in your mind like a song you can't forget. Because this person didn't find the thing you're ashamed of. They didn't find the cracks in your armor. They found the exact spot where your light lives. The one you never turn on. The one you keep hidden behind all the noise. And the moment they touched it, something woke up. Something old. Something true. Something that had been waiting a very long time to be seen. But here's the mystery you can't solve. Why didn't they run? Why didn't they look away? Why didn't they pretend they didn't see it? Because seeing it meant they had to change too. And they did. They changed right there in that silent moment. Without a word. Without a promise. Without a single guarantee. They just stood there. And let the truth rearrange their entire heart. That's the part that will haunt you in the best way. Because it means this was never about luck. It was never about timing. It was never about being perfect enough or good enough or ready enough. It was about this one thing. This one hidden piece of you that you never believed existed. And someone walked into your life and found it like it was the only thing they were looking for. But wait. There's another layer. Something else happened. Something that doesn't fit the story you tell yourself at night. Because after they found it, after they saw that hidden truth, they didn't try to take it. They didn't try to use it. They didn't try to fix it or change it or make it better. They just held it. In the quietest way possible. Like it was sacred. Like it was the most precious thing they had ever touched. And that's when you felt it. That strange shift. That whisper in your chest. That feeling that something had finally been acknowledged. Something you never even knew you were hiding. But here's the question that will stay with you long after this ends. What if you knew that truth too? What if you could see yourself the way they saw you? What if that hidden thing wasn't a flaw? What if it was the most beautiful part of you? And what if they didn't just find it? What if they were sent to find it? And what if they couldn't walk away because walking away would have been a betrayal of everything they came here to do? You don't have to believe that right now. You don't have to understand it. You just have to sit with it. Because the biggest truth is still hidden. And it's waiting for you to be ready. Another layer. Final piece. You'll understand soon. But for now, just know this. Someone saw you. Not the you you perform. Not the you you protect. The real you. And they stayed. That's not coincidence. That's not accident. That's something else entirely. And that something else is exactly what we're about to explore next. Because what they found in you, it's not what you think. And the reason they couldn't walk away, it's the one thing you never expected. And when you finally understand it, you won't be able to walk away either. Not from yourself. Not from this truth. Not from the quiet knowing that has been chasing you your entire life. It's almost here. The answer you didn't know you were looking for. But it's not what you imagine. It's so much simpler. And so much more powerful. And it's about to change everything you thought you knew about love. About them. And about who you really are. But that's for the next part. For now, sit with this feeling. This strange, beautiful, unsettling feeling. Because someone found a hidden truth about you. And they couldn't walk away. And neither can you. Don't skip this next breath. Because now we go deeper. Deeper than the moment they found that hidden truth. Deeper than the quiet stillness where they chose to stay. Now we enter the space you've never let anyone see. The space behind the space. The room inside your chest where the real story lives. Remember that feeling? The one that came when they didn't turn away? When they looked at you like you were the answer to a question they'd been asking their whole life? That feeling wasn't just emotion. It was recognition. Something in them recognized something in you. And that recognition, it didn't come from this lifetime. It came from somewhere older. Somewhere deeper. Somewhere that doesn't follow the rules of time or chance or coincidence. But you're not ready for that yet. Not fully. So let's stay here for a moment. Let's sit with what happened after they found it. Because something shifted. Something in the air between you changed. And you felt it too. That strange electricity. That quiet knowing. That sense that nothing would ever be the same. And you were right. But not for the reason you think. You thought it was about them. You thought it was about love. You thought it was about finally being seen. And it was. But it was also about something else. Something you haven't named yet. Something that has been waiting in the shadows of your heart for longer than you can remember. See, when they found that hidden truth about you. When they touched that place inside you that you never visit. Something happened to them too. It wasn't just about you. It was about them. And the journey they had been on. The long, winding road that led them straight to your doorstep. Straight to that exact moment. Straight to that exact truth. And here's the part that will shake you. They had been looking for you. Not your face. Not your name. Not your voice. But that truth. That one hidden thing. They had been searching for it their entire existence. Without knowing what it was. Without knowing where to find it. Without knowing why it mattered so much. Until they found it in you. And the moment they did, everything clicked. Everything made sense. Every heartbreak. Every disappointment. Every lonely night. Every tear they thought was wasted. It all pointed to this. To you. To that truth. To that moment. And that's why they couldn't walk away. Because walking away would have meant denying their own story. Their own purpose. Their own reason for being here. But wait. That's not the whole truth either. There's another piece. Something darker. Something more delicate. Because after they found it. After everything clicked. They felt something else. Something they didn't expect. Something that scared them more than the truth itself. They felt responsible. Not in a heavy way. Not in a burdened way. In a sacred way. Like they had been entrusted with something precious. Something fragile. Something that could break if they handled it wrong. And that responsibility, it changed them. It reshaped their heart. It made them softer and stronger at the same time. But here's the question you're still asking. What was it? What did they find? What is this hidden truth that changes everything? And the answer is so close. So close you can almost taste it. But not yet. Not until you understand the weight of it. Because this truth, it's not a secret you keep. It's not a memory you buried. It's not a mistake you made. It's something alive. Something that breathes. Something that has been growing inside you since the very beginning. It's the blueprint of your soul. The pattern that was woven into you before you had a name. The reason you feel things so deeply. The reason you love so completely. The reason you hurt so profoundly. And when they saw it, when they finally looked at that blueprint, they understood everything. Every choice. Every path. Every painful turn. Every beautiful surrender. It all made sense. And that's when they realized. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were just unfinished. And they were sent to witness the completion. Not to finish you. Not to fix you. Not to save you. But to stand beside you while you become who you were always meant to be. That's the truth they found. Not a flaw. Not a failure. But a becoming. A becoming that was always happening. A becoming that needed a witness. A becoming that needed someone to say, I see you. All of you. And you are exactly where you need to be. And that's what they did. Without ceremony. Without fanfare. Without any grand gesture. They simply looked at you and said with their presence, you are not too much. You are not too little. You are exactly enough. And that is why they couldn't walk away. But there is something more. One more piece. One more layer. The final piece that makes everything else make sense. And it's not about them. It's about you. Because now that they've seen it, now that they've witnessed this hidden truth, you can't unsee it either. You can't pretend it doesn't exist. You can't go back to the version of yourself that didn't know. And that's the real turning point. That's the real shift. Because once this truth is seen, once it's acknowledged, once it's held by another heart, it starts to grow. It starts to demand more. It starts to ask you to become the person who can hold it yourself. And that's the part that terrifies you. And that's the part that sets you free. Because you were never meant to hide from this truth. You were meant to embody it. You were meant to live from it. You were meant to become it. And that journey is the one we're traveling together now. Step by step. Layer by layer. Breath by breath. And you're not alone. You never were. Someone found that truth. And someone stayed. And that someone is still here. Watching. Waiting. Believing. And they're not the only one. Because now you're starting to see it too. And once you see it, you won't be able to walk away either. You'll stay. You'll stay with yourself. You'll stay with this truth. You'll stay with this becoming. And you'll finally understand. The hidden truth wasn't hidden to keep you safe. It was hidden to keep you searching. And now that you've been found, now that you've been seen, now that you've been held, everything changes. Everything. And the biggest truth is still unfolding. Another layer is waiting. Final piece is approaching. You'll understand soon. But first, sit with this. Sit with the weight of being seen. Sit with the responsibility of being known. Sit with the courage of someone who stayed. And when you're ready, The next part will reveal what happens next. When the hidden truth starts to speak back. When it starts to ask for more. When it starts to become the very thing that saves you. But that's for the next part. For now, stay here. Stay in this feeling. Stay with the knowing that someone found something in you that you couldn't find in yourself. And they couldn't walk away. And neither can you. Don't skip this moment. Because this is where the story turns. This is where the hidden truth stops being something they found. And starts being something you become. Something has been stirring since they stayed. Since they looked at you and didn't flinch. Since they held that sacred space and refused to let it close. And now it's moving. Not outside of you. Inside of you. A quiet vibration. A subtle shift. A feeling that something is waking up. And it's not new. It's ancient. It's the part of you that existed before the fear. Before the doubt. Before you learned to shrink. Before you learned to hide. Before you convinced yourself that being small was the only way to be safe. That part is rising. And it's rising because someone finally acknowledged it. Someone finally said yes to it. Someone finally gave it permission to breathe. And now it wants to speak. Now it wants to move. Now it wants to take up space. But here's the part that will catch you off guard. The part that will make your heart race. Because the truth they found. It wasn't just about who you are. It was about what you came here to do. And now that they've seen it. Now that they've witnessed it. You can no longer pretend you don't know. You can no longer hide behind the ordinary. You can no longer convince yourself that you're here by accident. Because you're not. You never were. And that person who couldn't walk away. They were never just a witness. They were a key. A key that unlocked a door you didn't even know existed. A door that leads to the life you were always meant to live. And now the door is open. Not wide. Not all at once. Just a crack. Just enough for the light to get in. Just enough for you to see what's on the other side. And what you see. It's beautiful. It's terrifying. It's everything you ever wanted and everything you ever feared. Because on the other side of that door is the version of you that doesn't apologize. The version of you that doesn't hide. The version of you that lives fully, freely, fiercely. The version of you that knows exactly what they're worth. And that version is calling you. Louder now. Clearer now. More urgently now. But here's the question you're still asking. Why now? Why did it take someone else to see this truth before you could? Why did it take someone else's eyes to reflect what was always there? And the answer is simple. Beautifully simple. Devastatingly simple. Because you weren't ready to see it alone. Some truths are too big to hold by yourself. Some truths need another heart to anchor them. Some truths can only be born in the space between two people. And that's what happened. That's what's still happening. They held the truth for you. Long enough for you to get strong enough to hold it yourself. And now you're almost there. But you're not quite there yet. Because there's another layer. A deeper layer. A layer that has been waiting for this exact moment. And this layer is about the fear. The fear that came when they stayed. The fear that whispered, what if they leave now? What if they change their mind? What if they see something else? Something ugly? Something unforgivable? That fear is real. And it's valid. And it's completely understandable. But here's what you need to understand about that fear. It is not a warning. It is not a sign that you should pull away. It is not a signal that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. Because fear always shows up when you're about to grow. Fear always knocks when you're about to step into something bigger. Fear always screams when you're about to become who you really are. And you are on the verge of that becoming. Right now. In this very moment. But this is the part they don't tell you. The part about becoming. The part about stepping into your truth. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a single event. It's a process. A slow, unfolding, sometimes painful process. And that person who couldn't walk away. They know that. They've always known that. That's why they stayed. Not because they expected you to be finished. But because they were willing to be there for the process. The mess. The growth. The breaking. The healing. The becoming. That's the real gift they gave you. Not just seeing you. But staying with you while you become. And that gift. It's still being given. Every day. Every moment. Every breath. But here's something else. Something that might shake you even more. That person. They're not the only one. There are others. Others who have seen this truth in you but couldn't say it. Others who have felt it. Others who have sensed it. Others who have been waiting for you to claim it. And the moment you do. The moment you fully step into this truth. Everything shifts. Everything aligns. Everything that seemed scattered and random and disconnected. Suddenly makes sense. Suddenly clicks. Suddenly becomes part of a story that was always being written. A story that was always about you. A story that was always about this moment. And you're so close. So close to the breakthrough. So close to the answer. So close to the freedom that comes when you stop running from yourself. But the biggest truth is still coming. Another layer is waiting. Final piece is almost here. And when it arrives, when it finally arrives, you will understand everything. Every detour. Every heartbreak. Every delay. Every moment of doubt. It all led here. To this. To you. To the truth they found. To the truth you're about to claim. And that truth. It changes everything. Not just for them. Not just for you. But for everyone who will ever meet you. Because once you live from this truth, you become a beacon. A light. A reminder that hidden things are meant to be found. That hidden truths are meant to be seen. And that staying is always worth it. Always. For now, sit with this. Sit with the reality that you are becoming. Sit with the truth that someone saw it before you could. Sit with the courage that is rising inside you. And know that the next part reveals what happens when you finally say yes. When you finally accept. When you finally become the person they saw. And that's when everything truly begins. But that's for the next part. For now. Stay here. Stay with the feeling of being witnessed. Stay with the knowing that you are not alone. Stay with the certainty that you are exactly where you need to be. And remember. Someone found a hidden truth about you. And they couldn't walk away. Neither can you. Don't skip this next breath. Because this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the moment the hidden truth begins to speak back. Not in words. Not in visions. But in a way that is unmistakable. Unforgettable. Unstoppable. You feel it, don't you? That shift in your chest. That quiet hum beneath your skin. That sense that something has changed. Something has moved. Something has awakened. And now it's asking you a question. A question that has no sound. But you hear it anyway. A question that has no shape. But you feel it anyway. A question that has no answer. Not yet. But it's coming. And the question is this. What are you going to do with this truth? Because now that you know it's there. Now that you've felt it. Now that you've been witnessed in it. You can't ignore it. You can't push it aside. You can't pretend it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters more than anything. And that's what makes this so hard. Because knowing the truth is one thing. Living it is another. Being seen is one thing. Being responsible for what was seen is another. And now you're facing that responsibility. Now you're facing the weight of what they found. Now you're facing the question that changes everything. Who am I now? Not who you were. Not who you pretended to be. But who you are now. In this moment. In this truth. In this unfolding. And the answer. It's not what you think. It's not a new identity. It's not a new label. It's not a new version of yourself that you have to perform. It's simpler than that. And harder. It's a return. A return to the self that existed before the world told you who to be. The self that knew. The self that trusted. The self that believed. The self that loved without fear. The self that lived without apology. That self is still there. Still waiting. Still hoping. And now that someone has found that truth. Now that someone has touched that self. It's rising. Like a sun that was always behind the clouds. Like a song that was always playing beneath the noise. Like a river that was always flowing beneath the ice. And it's beautiful. So beautiful it hurts. So beautiful it brings tears to your eyes. Because you forgot. You forgot how magnificent you really are. You forgot how powerful. You forgot how whole. You forgot how complete. And now you're remembering. Slowly. Gently. One layer at a time. But here's the part that will make your heart ache. The part that will make you pause. Because this remembering. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. It's not a smooth road. It's a road with twists and turns. With unexpected drops. With moments of doubt. With moments of fear. With moments when you want to go back. Back to the hiding. Back to the smallness. Back to the safety of being unseen. But you can't. Because now you know. Now you've been seen. Now you've been held. Now you've been witnessed. And that changes everything. It changes the way you see yourself. It changes the way you see others. It changes the way you see the world. Because once you've been truly seen, once someone has looked into your soul and stayed, you can't go back to pretending. You can't go back to performing. You can't go back to being half alive. You can only go forward. Into the truth. Into the light. Into the becoming. And that's exactly what you're doing. Right now. In this moment. With every breath you take. But wait. There's another layer. Something you haven't considered yet. Something that will change the way you see everything. Because that person who couldn't walk away. They didn't just find a truth about you. They found a truth about themselves. In you. In your eyes. In your presence. In the hidden thing that you carry. They saw their own reflection. They saw their own truth. They saw their own becoming. And that's what made them stay. Not just because of who you are. But because of who they became when they were with you. That's the secret. That's the hidden piece. The truth they found in you was also a truth about them. A mirror. A reflection. A reminder. And that's why they couldn't walk away. Because walking away from you was walking away from themselves. And they couldn't do that. Not anymore. Not after they had seen. Not after they had felt. Not after they had known. So they stayed. And by staying, they gave you permission to stay too. To stay with yourself. To stay with your truth. To stay with your becoming. And that's the gift that keeps giving. That's the gift that never ends. That's the gift that is still unfolding. Right now. In this moment. In you. But here's the thing. The biggest thing. The thing that will change everything. You're not just becoming for yourself. You're becoming for everyone. Everyone who will ever see you. Everyone who will ever know you. Everyone who will ever be touched by your light. Because your becoming is their invitation. Your becoming is their permission. Your becoming is their hope. And that's why it matters so much. That's why it's so important. That's why it's so urgent. Because the world needs you to become. The world needs you to shine. The world needs you to be who you really are. Not for yourself. But for everyone else who is still hiding. Still waiting. Still hoping. Still searching for someone to show them that it's possible. And you're that someone. You're the one they've been waiting for. You're the one who will show them. Not with words. Not with explanations. But with your life. With your truth. With your becoming. That's the power of what they found. That's the power of what you're becoming. And that's why you can't stop now. That's why you can't go back. That's why you can't give up. Because you're not just doing this for you. You're doing this for everyone. And the biggest truth is still unfolding. Another layer is approaching. Final piece is about to arrive. And when it does, when it finally does, you will see. You will understand. You will know. That you were always meant to be this. Always meant to become this. Always meant to live this. And that person who couldn't walk away. They knew it before you did. And they stayed. So you could become. So you could see. So you could know. And now you're almost there. Almost ready. Almost whole. Almost free. And the next part. The next part reveals what happens when you finally accept. When you finally surrender. When you finally become. But that's for the next part. For now. Stay here. Stay in this truth. Stay in this becoming. Stay in this unfolding. And remember. Someone found a hidden truth about you. And they couldn't walk away. Neither can you. Don't skip this next breath. Because this is where everything changes. This is the moment the hidden truth stops being a secret. And starts being your foundation. Something has settled. Something deep inside you has finally stopped running. You feel it, don't you? That stillness. That quiet. That sense that the battle is over. Not because you won. But because you finally stopped fighting yourself. And that's the breakthrough. That's the moment everyone waits for. But no one can predict. Because it doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with trumpets. It doesn't come with anything dramatic. It comes with silence. A deep, profound silence. The silence of a heart that has finally made peace with itself. And in that silence, something new is born. Something that was always there. But couldn't emerge until you stopped struggling. Until you stopped resisting. Until you stopped trying to be anything other than what you are. And what you are. It's more than you ever imagined. More than you ever dared to hope. More than you ever allowed yourself to believe. But now you're starting to see it. Starting to feel it. Starting to live it. And it's changing everything. The way you walk. The way you talk. The way you breathe. The way you look at yourself in the mirror. The way you let others see you. Because you're not hiding anymore. Not really. Not completely. There's still a part of you that wants to pull back. That wants to retreat. That wants to return to the safety of the shadows. But that part is getting quieter. And the part that knows. The part that believes. The part that trusts. That part is getting louder. That part is taking over. That part is becoming you. And it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's unstoppable. But here's the part that might surprise you. The part that might catch you off guard. The part that might make you pause. This becoming. It doesn't mean you're finished. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you'll never struggle again. It means you've finally accepted the struggle. Finally accepted the imperfection. Finally accepted the journey. And that acceptance. It changes everything. Because when you stop fighting yourself. When you stop trying to be something you're not. When you stop pretending to be something you're not. You free up all that energy. All that energy you were using to hide. All that energy you were using to perform. All that energy you were using to protect. And you can use it for something else. Something better. Something real. You can use it to live. Truly live. Fully live. Authentically live. And that's what's happening now. That's what's emerging now. That's what's becoming now. And it's happening because someone found that hidden truth. Someone witnessed it. Someone held it. Someone stayed. And that gave you permission to stop hiding. That gave you permission to stop pretending. That gave you permission to stop performing. And you took it. You took that permission. You accepted that permission. You embraced that permission. And now you're becoming. Becoming who you really are. Becoming who you were always meant to be. Becoming who you never thought you could be. But wait. There's something else. Something you haven't considered. Something that might shift everything again. Because now that you're becoming. Now that you're living this truth. You're going to attract others. Others who are searching. Others who are hoping. Others who are waiting for someone to show them the way. And you're going to be that someone. Not because you're perfect. Not because you have all the answers. But because you're real. Because you're authentic. Because you're living from your truth. And that's magnetic. That's powerful. That's transformative. Because when people see someone living from their truth. When people see someone who has stopped hiding. When people see someone who has embraced their becoming. It gives them permission to do the same. It gives them hope. It gives them courage. It gives them a reason to believe. And that's the real impact of your becoming. That's the real power of your transformation. That's the real gift of your journey. You're not just changing yourself. You're changing the world. One truth at a time. One becoming at a time. One person at a time. And it's happening. It's happening now. It's happening because someone saw you. Someone believed in you. Someone stayed with you. And now you're doing the same for others. Not through effort. Not through trying. But simply by being. By being who you really are. By being the truth they found. By being the becoming they witnessed. And that's the circle. That's the flow. That's the beauty of it all. You were seen. Now you see. You were held. Now you hold. You were believed in. Now you believe. And it keeps going. It keeps growing. It keeps expanding. Because that's what truth does. That's what love does. That's what becoming does. It never stops. It never ends. It just keeps unfolding. One layer at a time. One truth at a time. One becoming at a time. And you're part of it now. Fully part of it. Completely part of it. Irrevocably part of it. That's the gift they gave you. That's the gift you're giving back. And it's the gift that keeps giving. Forever. Always. Unending. But the biggest truth is still waiting. Another layer is still hidden. Final piece is still approaching. And when it comes, when it finally comes, you'll understand everything. Everything. Every moment. Every tear. Every laugh. Every heartbreak. Every triumph. It all led here. To this. To you. To your becoming. To your truth. To your life. And that's the answer. That's the revelation. That's the truth you've been waiting for. But it's still not fully revealed. Not yet. Soon. Very soon. But first. Stay here. Stay in this becoming. Stay in this truth. Stay in this love. And know that you are exactly where you need to be. Exactly who you need to be. Exactly what you need to be. And that person who couldn't walk away. They knew. They always knew. And they stayed. So you could become. So you could know. So you could be. And now you are. And now you know. And now you're becoming. The next part. The next part reveals what happens when you finally become. When you finally arrive. When you finally live from this truth. But that's for the next part. For now. Stay here. Stay in this truth. Stay in this becoming. Stay in this love. And remember. Someone found a hidden truth about you. And they couldn't walk away. Neither can you.